smoothly without chattering. This bit takes a very light cut and the barrel is pushed by hand. The borings are as fine as face powder. Mr. Gessler needs only one size of square reamer. After each cut, he adds a slip of paper under the hickory, and this will deepen the cut slightly. The gradual addition of 8 or 10 more of these paper shims does not appreciably enlarge the bore, but rather burnishes it to a mirror finish. With the inside of the tube finished, the gunsmith and his helper now finish the outside. This is done with that most used of all gunsmithing tools, the file. The object is to remove the rough forging marks, but not to remove so much metal as to weaken the barrel. Filing is a long, tedious job, hence the 3 facets or flat surfaces of the barrel, concealed by the wooden stock, are not finished as smoothly as the 5 that show.
To make sure that the flats are straight, the file is used long ways so any humps can be seen. The muzzle end is filed even so that the hole is centered. We file the flats in pairs opposite each other. First 4, and then the 4 in between. The barrel is widest at the breech and tapered toward the muzzle. The last few inches are flared out, again for appearance. The bore is straight inside. Once the barrel is smooth filed, it is polished with emery. Only the top 5 flats are polished.
While most military arms of the 18th century were smooth-bore muskets, many Americans tended to prefer rifles for their personal arms, especially on the frontier. A rifle is more accurate, though slower to load. An 18th century rifleman could hit his target at 300 yards, while it was said anyone hit at 150 yards by a musket ball was indeed unlucky. Rifling is cutting spiral grooves into the bore of the barrel. When the gun is fired, the rifling gives the ball a spin. This stabilizes the bullet, making it much more accurate than a musket ball.
The rifling grooves are cut with 2 steel teeth set in an iron rod. The rod is pinned to a spiral guide. A wooden shim is placed behind the teeth. All the cutting of the rifling is done from the breech to the muzzle. As the teeth are pulled through the barrel, they are turned by the spiral wooden guide, reproducing the same spiral pattern on the inside of the barrel. After each cut, the guide is rotated to its next position. There are 7 grooves on the spiral guide, so there will be 7 grooves in the barrel. After the first 7 grooves are pulled through, the depth of the cutter is increased by gluing a paper shim on the hickory backing. The papers are glued on to keep bits of metal from getting between the paper shim and the backing. Putting on a piece of paper increases the depth of the cut so much that the bit is very hard to pull through the barrel.
Back it up.
Once the first 2 or 3 passes are made, the paper is compressed and is easier to pull through. Altogether, 8 to 10 paper shims are built up and pulled through during the cutting of the grooves.
Six days after he began work at the forge, the gunsmith has almost finished the barrel. One step remains. A bullet cannot yet be fired from it. The gunsmith must close up the back or breech end, and to do this, he forges an iron breech plug. This is sized to fit inside the barrel. He will eventually thread both the barrel and the breech plug to make a firm attachment that allows the plug to be removed when necessary. The long extension is called a tang and will be used to hold the breech end of the barrel in the stock.
In threading the breech of the barrel, I usually cut 6 full threads, which makes the breech plug about a ½ inch long. It's important to have good, strong threads in the breech because the breech plug is the only thing between the shooter and the powder charge. The breech plug itself is threaded with a screw plate. It's forged longer than necessary with a taper to make it easier to start the screw plate. The excess is then sawed off. Since only 5 flats of the barrel are finished, you have to line the tang up with the top flat. The only way you can do this is to file down the breech of the barrel until the plug turns around to the proper flat.
The final step in making the barrel